So, how to use the bullet lines tool from the tool manager. Of course, you can get it from the tool manager, which you will find on my site. It's free to download, obviously. So, you have a project that you have shooting, a lot of projects to do, and you do have placed your particles, but you kind of want to visualize the bullet lines so they don't look very sterile. So you have some visualization that something is moving pretty fast across a level. This will work fine for enemy bullet lines, of course, if you want to do the Call of Duty style or whatever. So one tool that can work for that, or if you want to, can just be a placeholder, obviously, is the bullet lines. I have already installed it in my project, so I'm not going to install it again. And once you add it, you're going to go through Starbucks and prefabs, and you're going to have a bullet line over there. Okay, this is a prefab where we're going to be instantiating or creating. This is done with the premise that you're actually going to be using it with the object pooler or an object pooler. Of course, you can use the object pooler from our tool manager, obviously. And let's see how we can work with this right away. I'm just going to add a new pool in my object pooler, which we can call this bullet line. Then I'm going to replace this with bullet line over here, and you can set the budget. 60 is way too much, but around 20 or even 10 for that matter. It's pretty fast, so it wouldn't really make a lot of sense to use more than 20. But if you have problems, of course, you can have it. So in your code, where you actually have your shooting mechanics or your shooting logic, for me it's over here. It just does a raycast from one position to the other position. Okay, but what I do get is the origin of the raycast, which is where we place the first position of the line and where it actually hit. Okay, so here's one trick. You can have the last position or last line position and say on the aim help, in my case, that's just the transform, the origin, and it just shoots forward. Okay, in this case, it's basically just the center of the camera, but I move it around to have a little bit of an offset. It's nothing really major. As you can see, I'm going to do something similar with this, but since this is looking where I actually want to shoot, I'm going to use aim help forward by 100. It's just an offset for in this case, and to actually be an offset we need to assign the origin as well, so we are now a position in space instead of a direction. Okay, so that's for the last line, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to basically replace it once we hit something with our raycast. In this is for, this is just in case you are actually shooting at the sky and there's no collision done to this, or the 300 position distance that you're doing the raycast doesn't really return something. So that's us for finding the second position. For our bullet line then, to get the bullet line, I'm going to be using the object pooler. It's the same object pooler as that in the project, in the tool manager, I mean. Okay, so that will mean utilities, object pooler, get object, bullet line. Make sure you have the same, the same name correctly. Okay, then from that you can get utilities dot bullet line. Let's just write bullet line. Here it is. I'm just going to call it bullet line, and I'm going to say line dot get component in children bullet line. then on that bullet line you can say set positions. You have your first position, which in my case that will be aim help dot position, and in my the second case will be aim help dot, well, actually last line position. Okay, then all you have to do is basically just do line dot set active to true. The bullet line or the line renderer works in the wall space, so you won't really need to place it around. It will just instance the line based on the walled positions. So hit play, and you can see that just like that you can have your bullet lines. Let's see one more thing. Okay, so one more thing that we're going to do, because basically the script for the bullet line makes it so it lowers the width based on those values. Okay, so let's try one thing. So I'm manually going to disable the object and enable it just so that it forces a reset. The object pooler usually does this already, but just in case, let's see. Yeah, you can check this out. You can notice this now a little bit better. Because it shoots right from the center of the camera, it's not the best example of this, but you can see how it works. And that's the bullet lines for you. Another thing that you can know is that you can replace the material of the line renderer with your own material, where you can have a texture, and then you can just change, you can play with the settings from stretch to tile and so on and so on, and you can have a really nice bullet effect if you want to. So that's how you can use the tool, the bullet lines from the tool manager. Again, you can download the tool manager from my site, and you can have access to all these tools depending on your pattern level, but we also have the free tools, which we're going to see in the future.